Our stories are not real and made for entertainment purpose only. Subscribe to my channel for more stories. Now let's begin this one. I came home to an empty house, my son's shoes gone, his backpack missing, and then the police knocked, accusing me of kidnapping the one person I died to protect. My name is Thomas Reed, but everyone calls me Tom. I'm 38, a mechanic at a small auto shop in a quiet Ohio town, where the hum of engines and the smell of motor oil have been my sanctuary for nearly 2 decades. I'm not a man of many words, but I've always believed actions speak louder. I built a life with my wife, Sarah, and our 6-year-old son, Ethan, a life I thought was unbreakable. But life has a way of shattering what you hold dear, and for me, it all came crashing down on a Thursday evening in late spring. Sarah and I met in college, back when I was a scrawny kid with dreams of opening my own garage, and she was a bright-eyed marketing major with a laugh that could light up a room. We were opposites. She was all ambition and charm, while I was steady, grounded, happy to fix things with my hands. I'd spend hours in the campus auto shop, tinkering with old engines, while she led group projects with a confidence that drew everyone to her. Our first date was at a dive bar near campus, where she teased me for ordering root beer instead of a real drink. We spent summers fixing up her old Mustang together, her laughter mixing with the clank of my wrench as we dreamed of a future we'd build side by side. We got married at 25, had Ethan 3 years later, and settled into a modest ranch-style house with a backyard big enough for Ethan to kick a soccer ball. It had a creaky porch swing where we'd sit after Ethan went to bed, talking about our plans to grow old together. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours, or so I thought. The cracks started showing about a year ago. Sarah got a promotion at her marketing firm, a big step up that came with long hours and late nights. I was proud of her. She'd worked hard, and I didn't mind picking up extra shifts at the shop to keep things balanced. But she started changing. The woman who used to tease me about my greasy overalls grew distant, her smiles replaced by sharp words. She'd snap at me for leaving dishes in the sink or forgetting to mow the lawn, things that never bothered her before. I chalked it up to stress, told myself it was a phase. I didn't want to see the truth staring me in the face. That Thursday, everything exploded. I got home from the shop around 6 p.m. bone-tired after rebuilding a transmission. Ethan was in the living room, sprawled on the floor with his crayons, drawing a picture of a fire truck. I ruffled his hair, and he grinned up at me, his front tooth missing. "Daddy, look, it's got a ladder," he said, holding up his masterpiece. I promised we'd hang it on the fridge, but before I could, Sarah stormed in, her face like thunder. "You're late again," she said, tossing her purse on the counter. Her voice was sharp, like a blade cutting through the air. I glanced at the clock. 6:15 p.m. I'd texted her I'd be home by 6:30, but she wasn't having it. "You're never here, Tom. You're always at that damn shop, leaving me to handle everything." I took a deep breath, trying to keep calm. "Sarah, I'm working for us, for Ethan's future. You know that," but she wasn't listening. She launched into a tirade, accusing me of neglecting her, of not being present for our family. I tried to reason with her, but when she screamed, "You're a failure as a father, Tom. Ethan deserves better," it hit me like a punch to the gut. I'm not proud of what I did next. I didn't yell back. I couldn't, not with Ethan watching from the living room, his crayons frozen in his hand. Instead, I grabbed my keys and muttered, "I need air." I walked out, the door slamming behind me. I drove to Joe's Diner, a 24-hour spot a mile away where the coffee's cheap and the booths are quiet. I sat there, staring into my mug, replaying her words. Failure as a father, they cut deeper than anything else she could have said. I started recording a voice memo on my phone, a habit I'd picked up years ago when a therapist suggested it as a way to process my thoughts. "She's wrong," I muttered into the mic, my voice low. "I'm doing everything I can. For Ethan. For her. Why can't she see that?" The diner's sounds, clinking dishes, a waitress calling out orders hummed in the background. I rambled for maybe 30 minutes, venting about the fight, about how Sarah's distance was tearing me apart. By 8:15 p.m. I felt steady enough to head home. I paid my bill, left a tip for the waitress, and drove back, hoping we could talk it out. The house was dark when I pulled into the driveway. Too dark. The porch light was off, and the living room curtains were drawn. I unlocked the door, calling out, "Sarah, Ethan." Silence. My stomach twisted as I flicked on the lights. Ethan's shoes, usually kicked off by the door, were gone. His backpack, always slung over the couch, was missing too. I checked his room. His bed was empty, his favorite stuffed dinosaur nowhere in sight. I called Sarah's phone. Straight to voicemail. I texted her, "Where are you? Where's Ethan?" No response. Panic clawed at my chest. I ran through the house, checking every room, the backyard, even the garage. Nothing. I was about to call Sarah's parents when I heard sirens. Red and blue lights flashed through the curtains, painting the walls in eerie pulses. I opened the door to find two police officers, their faces hard. The older one, a stocky man with graying hair, spoke first. "Thomas Reed." "Yeah, that's me," I said, my voice shaky. "What's going on?" "We have a report that you've abducted your son, Ethan Reed," he said, his hand resting on his holster. "Where is he?" My knees nearly buckled. "Abducted? He's my son. I just got home. He's not here." I explained I'd been at the diner, that I'd left after a fight with Sarah, but the younger officer, a wiry guy with a skeptical squint, cut me off. "Your wife's at the station, Mr. Reed. She says you took Ethan after an argument and threatened to keep him from her. You need to come with us." I felt like I'd been sucked into a nightmare. "This is insane. I didn't take him. I don't know where he is," but they weren't listening. They escorted me to the squad car, my neighbor's curtains twitching as they watched. In the back seat, my mind raced. Why would Sarah do this? Was Ethan okay? The thought of him scared, alone, made my chest ache. At the station, they put me in a gray interrogation room that smelled of stale coffee. Officer Daniels, the older cop, sat across from me, his partner standing by the door. "Let's start from the beginning," Daniels said. "Your wife says you've been unstable lately, threatening to take Ethan away. She says you grabbed him tonight after a fight and left." "Where'd you take him, Tom?" "I didn't take him." I slammed my fist on the table, immediately regretting it as the younger officer tensed. "I was at Joe's diner from 6:30 to 8:15. I came home, and they were gone. You need to find my son." Daniels leaned back, unimpressed. "Unstable," she said. "History of arguments. You sure you didn't do something to scare her? Maybe you're not telling us everything." I was losing it, my voice cracking. "I'm telling you, I don't know where Ethan is. Sarah's lying. Please, just check the house, check her phone, something." But they kept circling back, asking the same questions, trying to trip me up. I felt trapped, like the walls were closing in. Sarah's words failure as a father echoed in my head, twisting with the fear that I might lose Ethan for good. Then it hit me, my phone, the voice memo. "Wait," I said, pulling it from my pocket. "I have proof I wasn't with Ethan. I was recording at the diner. Listen to this." My hands shook as I opened the app and played the memo. My voice filled the room, time-stamped from 7:40 p.m. to 8:15 p.m. ranting about the fight with Sarah. The diner's sound plates clattering, the waitress calling out "order up," were unmistakable. I watched Daniel's face as he listened, his expression shifting from skepticism to curiosity. "Interesting," he said, taking the phone. "We'll need to verify this. Metadata, location, all of it." He handed it to his partner, who left the room. I sat there, heart pounding, praying the recording would be enough. Minutes dragged like hours, each tick of the clock amplifying my fear for Ethan. Where was he? Was he safe? The thought of Sarah taking him somewhere, using him to hurt me, made my blood boil. The door opened, and a new officer, a woman named Carter, walked in. Her face was grim, her eyes sharp. "Mr. Reed, we need to show you something." She led me to a small room with a monitor. On the screen was grainy security footage from the gas station a block from our house. Timestamped 7:30 p.m. There was Sarah, her blonde hair unmistakable, ushering Ethan into a black sedan. He clutched his backpack, his little face confused. A man I didn't recognize sat in the driver's seat. My stomach dropped. "Who's that?" I demanded, my voice hoarse. "Where's my son?" Carter hesitated, then said, "We're still piecing it together, but it looks like Sarah planned to frame you. She told us you took Ethan to punish her, but your recording and the gas station footage contradict her story. We've pulled her phone records, which show she texted someone named Brian Kessler right after your fight, arranging to meet at a motel. The man in the car matches his description, a coworker from her firm. She didn't count on your recording, or the fact that the gas station's cameras caught her leaving with Ethan. We're charging her with filing a false police report. There may be more charges pending," depending on what we find at the motel and what Ethan tells us. I gripped the edge of the table, my knuckles white. Is Ethan okay? Tell me he's okay. We don't know yet, Carter said, her voice softer, but we're moving fast. Stay here. She left, and I sank into a chair, my mind spiraling. Sarah had taken Ethan. She'd lied to the police, accused me of kidnapping, while she was the one hiding him. Why? What was she planning? An hour later, Carter returned, her expression unreadable. Ethan's safe, she said, and I exhaled a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. We found him at the motel with your wife and a man named Brian Kessler, her coworker. Ethan's unharmed, but he's shaken. We're bringing him here, and your wife's being detained. I pressed my hands to my face, relief and rage warring inside me. What's going on? Why did she do this? Carter didn't answer directly. We're still piecing it together, but it looks like Sarah planned to frame you. We've pulled her phone records, which show she texted someone named Brian Kessler right after your fight, arranging to meet at a motel. The man in the car matches his description, a coworker from her firm. She didn't count on your recording, or the fact that the gas station's cameras caught her leaving with Ethan. We're charging her with filing a false police report. There may be more charges pending, depending on what we find at the motel and what Ethan tells us. The next few hours were a blur. They brought Ethan to the station, and when I saw him, my heart broke. He ran to me, his small arms wrapping around my waist. Daddy, I didn't know where you were, he whispered, his voice muffled against my shirt. I held him tight, promising I'd never let him go. Sarah's parents arrived soon after, their faces pale with shock. We had no idea, Tom, her mother said, tears in her eyes. She told us you were fighting, but this. They took Ethan to their house for the night, and I stayed at the station, answering questions. The detective laid it out. Sarah had been having an affair with Brian, a coworker at her firm, for nearly a year. She wanted to leave me but knew a custody battle would be messy. Her plan was to frame me as an unfit, dangerous father, claiming I'd kidnapped Ethan to ensure she'd get full custody. She'd taken him to the motel, thinking she could file her report and paint me as the villain before I even knew what was happening. Brian, it seemed, was in on it, though he claimed he was just helping a friend. My phone video was the key. The metadata, synced with the diner's security footage and my receipt, proved I was nowhere near Ethan when Sarah claimed I'd taken him. The gas station footage showed her leaving with him, and the motel's cameras caught her and Brian arguing outside their room, with Ethan visible in the background, curled up on a bed, clutching his dinosaur. The police added a child endangerment charge to Sarah's rap sheet, citing the emotional distress she'd caused Ethan by dragging him into her scheme. The next few weeks were hell. Sarah was released on bail, but I filed for a restraining order and full custody of Ethan. The court case was swift but brutal. Sarah's lawyer tried to spin it as a misunderstanding, claiming she was scared and acting in Ethan's best interest, but the evidence was overwhelming. My voice memo, the diner's footage, the gas station video, and Ethan's own statement he told a social worker he was scared at the motel and didn't know why mommy took him there painted a clear picture. The judge wasn't impressed with Sarah's tears or her lawyer's excuses. She was sentenced to 9 months in jail for the false report and endangerment, with a year of probation to follow. I got full custody, with Sarah allowed only supervised visits after completing mandatory therapy. Ethan and I moved out of the house a month later. Too many memories, too many ghosts. We settled in a small apartment closer to my shop, where Ethan could ride his bike to the park. He's doing better now, though he still has nightmares sometimes. He asks about Sarah, and I tell him she loves him but made some bad choices. I don't know if he'll ever fully understand, but I'm doing my best to be the father he needs. I still keep my phone's voice memo app handy. It's a small thing, but it saved my life that night. One recording, one timestamp, one truth that was enough to bring my son back and turn the tables on a lie that could have destroyed us. Sometimes I play it back, not to relive the pain, but to remind myself how close I came to losing everything. And how one call, one piece of evidence, changed it all.